Have you ever looked at a hospital bill and thought, how is this even legal?
Like this one hospital that charged $26,000 for a bag of salt water.
This video will explain exactly why Americans are paying 10 times more for healthcare than any other country.
In 2023, the US spent nearly $13,800 per person on healthcare. The average is about $4,700, and even if you only compare us to other wealthy countries, it's around $6,400. Either way, Americans are paying more than twice as much as people anywhere else. But isn't this just because the government and large institutions foot the bill? Well, I adjusted the chart to account for out-of-pocket payments, and the US is still leagues above every other country except Switzerland. But the catch? Switzerland does spend more, but they get way more bang for their buck. Their average life expectancy is 83 to 84 years old. They live on average about 6 years longer than us. Even before the pandemic, the US was lagging, with life expectancy of 78.8 years in 2019 compared to the average of 79.3 years when you look at all the countries combined. By 2023, things had only gotten worse. Life expectancy in the US dropped to just 78.4 years, while the average climbed to nearly 80 years. And many wealthy countries are living well into the 81 to 84 year range.
The US spends more on healthcare than other countries spend on everything else.
As you can see, this chart tells the full story. Even though we spend more than anyone else, Americans don't live as long.
We pay more, we live less, and the bill is absolutely insane.
We spend the most, we pay the most out of pocket, and we still don't live as long. If that isn't a broken system, what is?
Americans like you and I spend double the money and get worse results.
In the US, just walking into the ER, even without major treatment, can leave you with a bill for $2,000 to $5,000. That's before a single MRI, before an overnight stay, just the act of showing up. But that's just the beginning.
If you ever felt ripped off at the pharmacy, buckle up, because you're not the only one.
To prove my point, I tried to find some insulin to buy here in the US. Looks like I can get it for about $184. But in Canada, I can get the same exact vial of insulin for only $59.99. That's right, only $60. That's a fraction of the price. This chart shows the cost of insulin on average, showing that in the US we have to pay nearly $400 per vial of insulin, whereas in Spain, South Africa, Greece, it's only $30 to $50 to maybe $60 for the same exact thing. I did the same thing when looking for an EpiPen, which is a life-saving medication that people need. In the US, it costs $623.87 to get this. But in Canada, I can get the same exact thing for only $135. That's almost 6 times as much in the US.
Pharma companies charge whatever they want because they can.
Childbirth is way more expensive in the US, with C-sections coming in at $13,000, where you can get the same thing in the UK or in Australia for a fraction of the price. Basically, we're paying at least double every other country for a C-section here in the States. It's not just C-sections though. Vaginal births also are more than double every other country here in the US. Even the cost of an ambulance call-out fee is way higher here in the US than it is anywhere else. In the US, we pay over $1,000 just to get the ambulance to show up, where in other countries, it can cost as little as $11. And check out these inpatient services. You can tell just by looking at it that we're paying double, if not triple, every other country for these serious inpatient services like spinal fusion or coronary bypass surgery. We're just paying way more than anywhere else.
We're basically buying a Ferrari and getting a busted scooter.
And of course, we even pay way more for prescription drugs, sometimes 6 to 8 times more than other countries.
Other countries charge the price of a Big Mac, but here it's the price of an entire month's rent or more.
Do you ever wonder why your bill looks insane? It's because every hospital sets its own charge master, which is a sticker price list where things like $1 pill of Tylenol are billed at $15 or more. Then insurers negotiate fake discounts. It's like a used car lot, but for your life. So for example, you could see that some hospitals charge $26,000 for a bag of salt water, where the retail price of that can't be higher than simply $10. Or they'll charge $15 for a pill of Tylenol, where retail that would be only 25 cents. And a bandage will be $50, but retail that would only cost $1. So they're marking these things up 50 times or more to make more profit off of the people that come into the hospital. And you might be thinking, well, insurance covers a lot of this, so that makes it a lot easier. But if you look at the cost of insurance, it's also extremely high, where families are paying on average $25,000 for a family, and single people are paying almost $9,000 per person to have coverage for when they have to visit a hospital or a doctor. Not to mention, that's only the annual premium. That doesn't even count the deductible. Because on top of that, most people need to pay anywhere from $500 to $4,000 in a deductible just to get seen by the doctor in the first place. That's on top of the annual premium of $25,000 for families and $9,000 for individuals.
Insurance companies make you pay for coverage and then deny your coverage altogether.
Meanwhile, pharmaceutical companies enjoy very high profit margins, often above 25%. As you can see here, some of them are even getting 42% profit margins, putting them in the same league as big tech or big oil. Actually, to compare, big tech has an average of 23% profit margin, which is actually lower than the pharmaceutical companies I just showed you. And if you compare this to big oil, they can sometimes see 5 to 10% profit margins. And if you compare this to the airline industry, they see only around 3.7% profit margins on average. So pharmaceutical companies are way more profitable than all these other companies.
So we're paying luxury prices for bargain bin results, and the system is designed that way. So the real question isn't why is American healthcare so expensive, it's why are we still putting up with it? Hey, I didn't make this video just to complain. I made it because I have solutions to some of these problems, and I'm going to do everything in my power to try to fix this. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit the subscribe button and join us. Come along for the ride as we try to turn over the American healthcare system into something that works for everyone.